Let's go right to Democratic Congressman from Connecticut and ranking member of House Intel, Jim Himes. Congressman, really good to have you. Thank you for joining us. I'm sure you've gotten at least read in on some of the hearing today. I want to ask you about how the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, opened. He said the biggest threat right now is not Iran. It is Democrats and their naysaying of this war. What is your reaction?
Well, I mean, how wrong can you be, right? Anybody who had a basic understanding of the workings of the United States government knows that the Congress has a role to play of oversight. That means we ask tough questions. A role to play in authorizing war. This is not controversial. It is in the Constitution. And it just shows how thin-skinned this man is and how he thinks about it. He doesn't think about what's right for the country. He thinks about what's the next political point I can score by taking on the Democrats. Look, it was there for all to see. And part of the reason there's so much emotion with Pete Hegseth is that he knows that this war is corroding the political standing of the one person he has some loyalty to, and that's Donald Trump.
The secretary repeated again and again that the war has been successful, that the American military has decimated Iran's ability to wage war, from their missiles to their air defenses to their Navy. You are on House Intel. Have you seen intelligence that supports that? I know you obviously can't give us classified information, but is our intelligence community assessing that Iran is as decimated as the secretary is claiming?
Yeah, well, there's two things to say about that. One, he's partially correct. I mean, the United States military is second to none by a country mile. And yes, we've done tremendous damage to their Navy, to their Air Force, to their military capability. But, and this is the part that he's not telling you, is that they retain the capability to cause a lot of damage. And as anybody who has ever studied history you enter into military things. You sink people's ships and blow up their airplanes to achieve political purposes. And if you ask Pete Hegseth about that, yes, there was regime change in Iran. We now have a much younger and much more aggressive and ideologically crazy supreme leader. It is now the Republican Guard in charge of Iran. And, oh, by the way, American gas prices are up $1.25 a gallon. Every single day, Americans are being reminded of the implications of this president's decision to go to war and therefore close the Strait of Hormuz. And, Pete Hegseth, for all his chest thumping, hasn't figured out a way to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and make people's gasoline prices go down.
Is that the American intelligence assessment of the new supreme leader? What is the intelligence assessment, and do we have an idea of how he's doing physically?
Yeah, and these are the questions I do have to be a little careful about, but there's no question that we know that he's considerably younger than his father, obviously, but he is much more ideologically fervent than his father was, and he has a great deal of relationship of credibility with and regard for the Republican Guard, which is really the violent, brutal, ideological element inside Iran, and they're now calling the shots. So I promise you, at the supreme leader level, this was not a good trade.
There is talk about Iran potentially giving over its stores of enriched uranium to Russia as potentially part of a peace deal. This is talk right now. Can you tell us anything about that in terms of an intelligence assessment and whether that's a good idea?
Well, obviously, it would be terrific to get back to where we were in 2015 when President Obama, over the course of 18 months, negotiated a deal with no loss of American life and no pop in gasoline prices that resulted in the Iranians handing over all of their highly enriched uranium. That was a pretty good day. Hard for me to see the path here, right, for two reasons. Number one, the Iranians realize that they've got the upper hand in these negotiations, because the entire world is saying, my God, my food prices, my energy prices, gasoline prices are so high. So they understand that they have the strategic momentum right now. And so they understand there's a good chance that Donald Trump is going to take whatever deal they put on the table, because soon it will become so critical to open the Strait of Hormuz. The other thing I would add here is, remember, we were told 9 months ago that the nuclear capability was, to use the president's word, obliterated. That's not quite right, but it's under all kinds of rubble. Extracting it and getting it out would be a brutally difficult task. And, again, the president is going to take whatever deal he can get, because he understands how absolutely toxic, gasoline prices that are $1.25 higher than they were before is to him and to his party.
Congressman Himes, ranking member of Intel. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time.